Hey, what's up, everybody? We are Greg and Lisa.
Hey guys, today's video, Hillsborough, the story of football's darkest day.
And today's video is brought to you by Full Time Football. We will include a link in the description so you can head on over there and do all of the YouTube stuff. I'm sure they'd appreciate that.
Yes.
Now, this was actually a recommendation.
Bella Donick Hazy Janelle.
Yes.
She's a patron. So she recommended the song called
You'll Never Walk Alone.
You'll Never Walk Alone.
Which came from this, because of this event of what we're watching. It was people going to watch Liverpool play, and then this incident happened, and so the song "You'll Never Walk Alone" was people showing support for them.
Right.
So we wanted to see what preempted this song.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't know the story. And haven't seen any of the footage, or we don't know the story. We just know it's some tragic story,
right,
that caused a whole upheaval, right?
I don't know. So some people who watch this channel may know that I do have a football channel. I haven't posted there in a while because we've been super busy with this channel and our German channel. But I did learn a lot on that football channel, and one of the things I learned is that football in the UK had a bad reputation because of hoodlums and violence and all of these things.
Within the Premier League is what it's called?
It wasn't the Premier League back then.
Oh, okay.
The Premier League came because the league was basically flailing, so you had all these billionaires come in and try and prop up the league. That's how the Premier League started. So, but I do that's what I know about it, and I'm not sure this incident came from the hoodlums causing problems, but I know it was a dark day. Okay. And a lot of fans were banned from other stadiums for like 2 years or something like that.
Oh, dang.
So it's going to be interesting.
Fans were banned?
Yeah, because fans would go to other stadiums. Fans from the UK would go to other stadiums just to fight. Like once they were banned, like they would go just to be outside waiting for causing problems. Okay. So Yikes. But once they reintegrated the leagues and everything, they implemented a lot of rules that around drinking. Yeah. Like you can't, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but you can't. If you have a drink, you can't be in a place where you can see the field. You have to be like up around someone like that, or I think so.
It's a deterrent. Like you don't want to drink because you don't want to miss the game, necessarily.
Or if you do drink, then like you just stay up there and drink. So you're not close enough to cause problems around to the field and all of that. So, but anyway, it's going to be interesting. I know this is a sad story, but I'm definitely want to learn more about it. So this is a good time for us to watch it. You didn't know it's sad?
I know bad things happen. I'm not 100% sure what happened here.
Okay. All right. Well, we're about to find out.
Yikes.
Before we get going here, go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel. Help us reach 50,000. That would be awesome. We definitely would appreciate that. All right, let's go. Okay.
On the 15th of April, 1989, one of the most important games of the English domestic season was set to take place at Hillsborough Stadium in Sheffield. An FA Cup semi-final between last season's beaten finalists Liverpool and Nottingham Forest would determine who would head to Wembley to play Everton in the final. Winning the FA Cup was arguably more important than winning the First Division League title at that time, so the importance of this game to both sets of supporters couldn't be understated. However, no one could have predicted what would have unfolded that day, and the impact those events would have on not just the supporters of Liverpool Football Club, but the footballing community as a whole.
Oh my gosh, my heart
766 people were injured, and ultimately 97 people were killed as a result of a human crush, which occurred due to overcrowding, which remains the highest death toll in the history of British sport.
Okay, so it occurred due to overcrowding. So it wasn't necessarily because of the hoodlums. Yeah, like due to overcrowding.
Oh my God, 700 were injured?
Yeah.
And 97 died.
In the years since the disaster, the truth about what happened that fateful day has come to light, and those who fell that afternoon can finally rest in peace.
Oh my God, there's like a 14-year-old and a whole bunch of 19-year-olds, a whole bunch of 18-year-olds.
There was a 94-year-old.
There's a 94-year-old. Oh my God.
Lived their whole life, and that's how they... Yeah, and was I can't tell.
My God. The majority are young.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
Goodness.
I mean,
they're going
at the
to
game. He has a 10-year-old.
Oh, no.
Down here.
Steve Fox.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay.
I think the 10-year-old, Steve Fox. Okay.
And those who fell that afternoon can finally rest in peace. This is the story of football's darkest day. This is the story of Hillsborough. Built in 1899, Hillsborough Stadium, the home ground of Sheffield Wednesday, was selected to host the semi-final between Liverpool and Nottingham Forest. At that time in England, the majority of stadiums had high steel fences in place between the fans and the pitch, in an attempt to stem the prevalent pitch invasions and hooliganism which was rife in the English game. So much so that English teams had received a ban from competing in European competition following the Heysel Stadium disaster in 1985.
This is 85.
This is 85. This is 89, so it was before that.
Okay.
No, so this must have been after, because it happened in 85. They had a ban for 2 years.
Oh, my goodness.
So this is after that.
In 89.
At approximately 7 p.m. local time, an hour before kickoff of the 1985 European Cup final between Liverpool and Juventus, the initial disturbance started. The boundary between the two was marked by temporary chain-link fencing and a central thinly policed no-man's land. Hooligans began to throw flares, bottles and stones across the divide and picked up rocks from the crumbling terraces beneath them. As kickoff approached, the throwing became more intense. Several groups of Liverpool hooligans broke through the boundary, overpowered the police and charged at the Juventus fans. The fans in the neutral section, who were mainly Italian and Belgian families with young children, began to flee towards the perimeter wall. The wall could not withstand the force of the fleeing Juve fans, and a lower portion collapsed. The blame for the incident was laid on the fans of Liverpool. On the 30th of May 1985, official UEFA observer Günther Schneider said, "Only the English fans..."
39 fans killed.
Oh my God.
600 injured.
So this is probably one of the worst.
That was in 85, right? Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
1985, official UEFA observer Günther Schneider said, "Only the English fans were responsible. Of that there is no doubt." UEFA, the organiser of the event, the owners of Heysel Stadium, and the Belgian police were investigated for culpability. After an 18-month investigation, the dossier of leading Belgian judge Marina Koppiters was finally published. It concluded that blame should rest solely with the Liverpool fans. Jerry Clarkson, Deputy Chief of the London Fire Brigade, was sent by the British government to report on the condition of the stadium.
Whilst I emphatically say now that I do not condone any form of hooliganism whatsoever, the deaths, in my view, were attributable very, very largely to the appalling state of that stadium.
Clarkson discovered that the crush barriers were unable to contain the weight of the crowd and had the reinforcement in the concrete exposed. The wall's piers had been built the wrong way around, and that there was a small...
Oh, wow. You could see that. They're like backwards.
Exposed. The wall's piers had been built the wrong way around, and that there was a small building at the top of the terrace that contained long plastic tubing underneath. His report was never used in any inquiry for the disaster. Incidents such as these painted the English fans and football fans in general in an unfavourable light, thus giving certain areas of the media the ammunition they needed to spin the narrative against them should further incidents ever occur. Hillsborough hosted 5 FA Cup semi-finals in the 1980s, despite occurrences of serious overcrowding taking place throughout those semi-final games. A report by Eastwood and Partners for a safety certificate for the stadium in 1978 concluded that although it failed to meet the recommendations of the Green Guide, a guide to safety at sports grounds, the consequences were minor. It emphasised the general situation at Hillsborough was satisfactory compared with most grounds. In 1981, a crush occurred at the Leppings Lane end in a game between Tottenham Hotspur and Wolverhampton Wanderers, resulting in 38 injuries. Police believed that no one would have been seriously injured and recommended the capacity be reduced going forth. Nonetheless, the incident prompted Sheffield Wednesday to change the layout of the Leppings Lane end, dividing the terrace into 3 separate pens in an effort to reduce sideways movement.
Were you going to say something?
Just that they knew there was a problem, so it sounds like I thought that all they did was just reduce the crowd size, but it sounds like they did a little bit more than that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's leading up to this could have been preventable.
Right.
Okay.
They'd be reduced going forth. Nonetheless, the incident prompted Sheffield Wednesday to change the layout of the Leppings Lane end, dividing the terrace into 3 separate pens in an effort to reduce sideways movement. Following these changes, the stadium's safety certificate was now invalid. However, it was never renewed, and the capacity remained the same.
Oh, wow.
6 years later, in 1987, serious overcrowding was observed again, with the quarter-final and semi-final games of that season's FA Cup, as well as the following year in 1988. Police presence at that 1988 semi-final, coincidentally between Liverpool and Nottingham Forest, had been overseen by Chief Superintendent Brian Mole, who had supervised a number of deployments at stadiums in the past. However, following an incident that occurred in October 1988, Mole was transferred out of the South Yorkshire Division and was replaced by Chief Superintendent David Duckenfield. The first planning meeting for the 1989 FA Cup semi-final.
Okay, so the guy who was brought in to handle it was transferred out.
Mm-hmm.
They're not saying anything about this person's qualifications, if he was, qualified to handle it as much as the person that they transferred out. So maybe that's part of the problem too.
Superintendent David Duckenfield. The first planning meeting for the 1989 FA Cup semi-final was attended by Duckenfield and not Mole, who could still have been assigned to the game despite his transfer. This would not be the case, leaving Duckenfield in charge of planning, despite having never commanded a sellout football match before and had very little, if any, experience or training in how to do so.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
As is common at domestic football matches in England, both sets of fans would be segregated. Nottingham Forest fans were allocated the south and east stands, holding a capacity of 29,800, which could be accessed by roughly 60 turnstiles along 2 sides of the ground. The Liverpool fans, however, were assigned to the north and west stands, the west stand being the Leppings Lane end, holding 24,256 fans, which could be accessed by 23 turnstiles from a narrow.
Like half. Because the other one's 69,000, I thought he said.
Oh, I thought he said 29.
29?
Oh, no.
No.
You want to go back?
Yeah.
Okay.
South and east stands, holding a capacity of 29,800, which could be accessed by roughly 60 turnstiles along 2 sides of the ground. The Liverpool fans, however, were assigned to the north and west stands, the west stand being the Leppings Lane end, holding 24,256 fans, which could be accessed by 23 turnstiles from a narrow concourse.
Okay.
Despite there being a larger number of Liverpool fans, the Forest supporters were given the larger area in an attempt to avoid rival fans crossing paths. As a result, turnstiles that would normally have been used to enter the north stand were now off limits, forcing all Liverpool fans to converge on a single entrance at the Leppings Lane end. Between 2:30 and 2:40 PM, there was a build-up of supporters outside the turnstiles facing the Leppings Lane, eager to enter the stadium before the game began. At 2:46 PM, the BBC's football commentator John Motson had already noticed the uneven distribution of people in the Leppings Lane pens.
Well, you look at the Liverpool end to the right of the goal. There's hardly anybody on those steps. No, to the right of there. That's it.
God.
Look down there. Unless that's some sort of segregation for what they call neutrals who've got their tickets from Sheffield Wednesday. That could be it, I suppose.
People presenting tickets at the wrong turnstiles and those who had been refused entry could not leave because of the crowd behind them and remained as an obstruction.
Right.
Fans outside could hear cheering as the teams came out onto the pitch 10 minutes before the match started and as the match kicked off, but could not gain entrance. A police constable radio control requesting that the game be delayed, as it had been 2 years before, to ensure the safe passage of supporters into the ground. The request to delay the start of the match by 20 minutes was declined. With an estimated 5,000 fans trying to enter through the turnstiles and increasing safety concerns, the police, to avoid any fatalities outside of the ground, opened a large exit gate that ordinarily permitted the free flow of supporters departing the stadium. 2 further gates were subsequently opened to relieve the pressure. After an initial rush, thousands of supporters entered the stadium. Hundreds of people were pressed against one another and the fencing by the weight of the crowd behind them. Fans were still streaming in from the rear entrance tunnel as the match began. The police at first attempted to stop fans from spilling out of the pens, some believing this to be a pitch invasion. At approximately 3:04 PM, a surge caused one of the metal crush barriers to give way. South Yorkshire Police Superintendent Greenwood realised the situation and ran onto the field to gain referee Ray Lewis's attention. Lewis stopped the match as fans climbed the fence in an effort to escape the crush and went onto the running track surrounding the pitch. By this time, a small gate in the fence had been forced open and some fans escaped via this route, as others continued to climb over the fencing. Other fans were pulled to safety by fans in the west stand above the Leppings Lane terrace. The intensity of the crush broke more crush barriers on the terraces. Holes in the perimeter fencing were made by fans desperately attempting to rescue others. The crowd in the Leppings Lane stand spilled onto the pitch where many injured and traumatised fans who had climbed to safety congregated. Those still trapped in the pens were packed so tightly that many victims died of compressive asphyxia while standing. Meanwhile, on the pitch, police, stewards and members of St John's Ambulance Service were overwhelmed. Many fans assisted the injured, several attempted CPR, and others tore down advertising hoardings to use as stretchers. Chief Superintendent John Nesbitt of South Yorkshire Police later briefed that leaving the rescue to the fans was a deliberate strategy, and is quoted as saying, "We let the fans help so that they would not take out their frustration on the police." As fans who were able to escape the nightmare made their way out of Hillsborough, the death toll inside continued to rise. A total of 42 ambulances arrived at the stadium. Of this number, 2 managed to make their way onto the pitch by their own accord, while a third ambulance made its way onto the pitch at the direction of Officer Douglas Hopkins, who felt its visibility might allay crowd concerns and make them think something was being done. The remaining 39 ambulances were collectively able to transport approximately 149 people to either Northern General Hospital, Royal Hallamshire Hospital, or Barnsley Hospital for treatment.
Well, I think the biggest irony is that the sun is shining now and Hillsborough's quiet, and over there to the left, the green Yorkshire Hills. And who would have known that 74 people would die here in the stadium this afternoon? And 2 other items I just think of, sitting here now in the sunshine. 2 items. One, that still reminds me of Heysel. The gymnasium here at Hillsborough is being used as a mortuary for the dead. And at this moment, stewards, just as they did at the Heysel Stadium, have got cartons and little paper bags, and they're gathering up the personal belongings of the spectators, some of whom died, some of whom are now seriously injured in nearby hospitals. And there are red and white scarves of Liverpool, and red and white bobble hats of Liverpool, and red and white rosettes of Liverpool, and nothing else out there on the enclosure where all the deaths occurred. And the sun shines now.
This is all because they were just afraid of...
After the disaster...
They're just afraid. They had to do all this because they were afraid of what happened in '85 happening again. So they separated them and made all these restrictions to keep any fighting from happening. And who's to say that would have even happened? And I bet you anything they probably blame the fans.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's a reason why they told us about the '85 hooligans fighting and how that all happened. Like that plays a role here.
After the disaster, Lord Justice Taylor was appointed to conduct an inquiry into the events. The Taylor inquiry sat for a total of 31 days between the 15th of May and the 29th of June 1989 and published 2 reports. An interim report on the 1st of August 1989, which laid out the events of the day and immediate conclusions, and a final report on the 19th of January 1990, which outlined general recommendations on football ground safety. Taylor concluded that policing on the day broke down, and the main reason for the disaster was the failure of police control. Attention was focused on the decision to open the secondary gates. Moreover, the kick-off should have been delayed, as had been done at other venues and matches. Taylor found there was no provision for controlling the entry of spectators into the turnstile area. He dismissed the claim by senior police that they had no reason to anticipate problems, since congestion had occurred at both the 1987 and 1988 semi-finals. He said that the operational order and police tactics on the day failed to provide for controlling a concentrated arrival of large numbers should that occur in a short period. That it might so occur was foreseeable. The failure by the police to give the order to direct fans to empty areas of the stadium was described by Taylor as a blunder of the first magnitude. Sheffield Wednesday...
That's true, because there were enough open spaces maybe to at least relieve some of the pressure by having some of them go to them, but they didn't direct them. They put them in the wrong.
I know,
they
but
put them in the wrong turnstiles.
We've both been managers before, and the buck, they're just passing it on to the police. It's the police's fault.
Right.
When they should have instructed the police. Like, why didn't the instructions go down to them? What if this happens? Do this, do that.
But I think that Taylor guy is just an investigator who's saying this.
Oh.
He's not like, the people of the stadium or something. He's just an investigator.
Well, I just don't like that. It's like you're blaming the police when there probably was a lack of planning somewhere else, especially that guy was new. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what he's saying, that they didn't plan, even though they had 88 to go by and 87 to go by.
Yeah.
Still, so they are saying it's the planning and the police, and I don't know.
Okay.
Wednesday was also criticised for the inadequate number of turnstiles at the Leppings Lane end and the poor quality of the crush barriers on the terraces. As a result of the Taylor report, most clubs refurbished or rebuilt stadiums, partly and in some cases completely, while others built new stadiums at different locations. Initial media coverage began to shift the blame onto the behaviour of the Liverpool fans at the stadium, making it a public order issue.
And I'm saying to you that if police officers had been in there, when this mob surged through, the police officers would have been trampled to death underneath it. You just can't handle them. And the vast majority of that lot had been drinking, the ones that were arriving late, and they will not be told where to go. They won't do anything you try to do. And what can you do?
So are you saying the fans are to blame then?
The police certainly aren't to blame. Because if the fans would do what the police are asking them to do, there wouldn't be any problem, because people would be orderly.
On the 19th of April, 4 days...
I knew that's what they were going to do.
That doesn't make any sense.
That they just called them, it's just like in every situation, they just call them a mob. And then all of a sudden, they're mobs.
Right.
When they were just trying to get through and they were just trying to come in. And maybe they were drinking, but they were trying to come into the stadium because where they were getting smashed.
Yeah. I mean, they probably were listening to the police because the police were...
Yeah, they
didn't tell them where... They didn't send them to the right place.
Yeah. But it wasn't their fault.
Right.
Disaster. Kelvin Mackenzie, editor of The Sun, ordered "The Truth" as the front page headline, followed by 3 sub-headlines. Some fans picked pockets of victims, some fans urinated on brave cops, and some fans beat up PC giving kiss of life. The story accompanying The Sun headlines claimed drunken Liverpool fans had viciously attacked rescue workers as they tried to revive victims, and police officers, firemen and ambulance crew were punched, kicked and urinated upon. Widespread boycotts of the newspaper throughout Merseyside followed immediately and continue to this day. Lord Taylor concluded in his report that the behaviour of Liverpool fans, including accusations of drunkenness, were secondary factors, and said that most fans were not drunk, nor even the worse for drink. He concluded that this formed an exacerbating factor, but the police, seeking to rationalise their loss of control, overestimated the element of drunkenness in the crowd. The report dismissed the theory put forward by South Yorkshire Police that fans attempting to gain entry without tickets or with forged tickets were contributing factors.
Yeah, but how do they know that?
Yeah.
Decided not to bring criminal charges against any individual, group, or body on the grounds of insufficient evidence.
Inquests into the deaths were opened and adjourned immediately after the disaster. Resumed on 19th November 1990, they proved to be controversial. South Yorkshire coroner Dr. Stephen Popper limited the main inquest to events up to 3:15 p.m. on the day of the disaster, 9 minutes after the match was halted and the crowd spilled onto the pitch. Popper said that this was because victims were either dead or brain dead by 3:15 p.m. The decision angered the families, many of whom felt the inquest were unable to consider the response of the police and other emergency services after that time. The inquest returned verdicts of accidental death on 26th of March 1991.
Did you understand that?
I'm not sure I did. What is he saying?
That they basically put a time that the event ended. It was 9 minutes after. So anything that happened after that is like insubmissible or inadmissible.
And so they're trying to say that they were either brain dead or dead after what was
Here, let's watch it again.
Okay.
Inquests into the deaths were opened and adjourned immediately after the disaster. Resumed on 19th November 1990, they proved to be controversial. South Yorkshire coroner Dr. Stephen Popper limited the main inquest to events up to 3:15 p.m. on the day of the disaster, 9 minutes after the match was halted and the crowd spilled onto the pitch. Popper said that this was because victims were either dead or brain dead by 3:15 p.m. The decision angered the families, many of whom felt the inquests were unable to consider the response of the police and other emergency services after that.
See, so they couldn't consider the response of the police or anything after that time. Mm-hmm. So if the police screwed up after that, it doesn't matter. It's like
they were already dead.
It's inadmissible because they put a time. The coroner put a time that said basically, kind of, this is when the event stopped because everybody was already dead.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
At time, the inquest returned verdicts of accidental death on 26th of March 1991, much to the dismay of the bereaved families who had been hoping for a verdict of unlawful killing or an open verdict, and for manslaughter charges to be brought against the officers who had been present for the disaster. Popper's decision regarding the cut-off time was subsequently endorsed by the Divisional Court, who considered it to have been justified in the light of the medical evidence available to him. Relatives later failed to have the inquest reopened to allow more scrutiny of police actions and closer examination of the circumstances of individual cases.
It makes one wonder whether it's justice that they do want. You see, they've had justice. It's been through the full judicial process. But because it hasn't come out the way they would like, then they don't feel they've had justice. And really, I think most people will take that for what it is.
In May 1997, when the Labour Party came into office, Home Secretary Jack Straw ordered an investigation.
Okay, so this is 1997. This is 8 years later.
Okay.
So they're still investigating it.
It was performed by Lord Justice Stuart Smith. The terms of reference in his inquiry were limited to, quote, new evidence. That is, evidence which was not available or was not presented to the previous inquiries, courts or authorities. Therefore, evidence such as witness statements which had been altered were classed as inadmissible. When he presented his report in February 1998, he concluded that there was insufficient evidence for a new inquiry into the disaster. Announcing the report to the House of Commons, Home Secretary Jack Straw backed Stuart Smith's findings and said that, "I do not believe that a further inquiry could or would uncover significant new evidence or provide any relief for the distress of those who have been bereaved." However, the determination by Stuart Smith was heavily criticised by the Justice Minister, Lord Falconer, who stated, "I am absolutely sure that Sir Murray Stuart Smith came to the completely wrong conclusion. It made the families in the Hillsborough disaster feel after one establishment cover-up, here was another."
That's kind of what you were saying, that they're like a cover-up.
Yeah.
In February 2000, a private prosecution was brought against Chief Superintendent David Duckenfield and another officer, Bernard Murray. The prosecution argued that the crush was foreseeable, hence the defendants were grossly negligent. Prosecutor Alan Jones told the court that Duckenfield gave the order to open the gates so that hundreds of fans could be herded onto the already crowded terraces at the stadium. Jones stated that minutes after the disaster, Duckenfield deceitfully and dishonestly told senior FA officials that supporters had forced the gate open. Duckenfield admitted that he had lied in certain statements regarding the causes of the disaster. The prosecution ended on the 24th of July 2000, when Murray was acquitted and the jury was unable to reach a verdict in the case of Duckenfield.
Oh, wow.
In the years after the disaster, the Hillsborough Family Support Group had campaigned for the release of all relevant documents into the public domain. After the disaster's 20th anniversary in April 2009, supported by the Culture Secretary Andy Burnham and Minister of State for Justice Maria Eagle, the government asked the Home Office and Department of Culture, Media and Sport to investigate the best way for this information to be made public. On the 12th of September 2012, the Hillsborough Independent Panel concluded that no Liverpool fans were responsible in any way for the disaster and that its main cause was a lack of police control.
395-page report, delivered 150 key findings. multiple factors were responsible for the deaths of 96 victims of the Hillsborough tragedy, and that the fans were not the cause of the disaster.
The findings concluded that 164 witness statements had been altered. Of those statements, 116 were amended to remove or change negative comments about South Yorkshire Police. South Yorkshire Police had themselves performed blood alcohol tests on the victims, some of them children, and ran computer checks on the National Police database in an attempt to impugn their reputation. Despite the idea that alcohol being a major contributing factor had been dismissed by the Taylor report.
I'm going to read that. Go ahead. As part of the report, the Hillsborough Independent Panel released more than 335,000 pages of evidence alone or online, including the altered police statements.
What the?
After publication, the Hillsborough Family Support Group called for new inquests for the victims. They also called for the prosecutions of unlawful killing, corporate manslaughter, and provision of the course of justice in respect of the actions of police both in causing the disaster and covering up their actions. Following an application on the 19th of December 2012 by the Attorney General Dominic Grieve, the High Court quashed the verdicts in the original inquests and ordered fresh inquests to be held. The inquest hearing started on Monday the 31st of March 2014. On the 6th of April 2016, the 9 jurors were sent out to consider their verdicts, over 2 years after the hearings had begun. These were formally given to the inquest at 11 o'clock on the 26th of April 2016. The jury returned a verdict of unlawful killing in respect of all 96 victims by majority verdict of 7-2. The families of those who had been killed that day could finally rest easy, safe in the knowledge that they had won in their fight for justice, and the truth about what happened that day in 1989 had now come to light. The fact that having the fans who were in attendance that day exonerated from any and all blame in the cause of the disaster was what truly mattered to those who had campaigned tirelessly for the truth after 27 long years. Never again would the survivors of Hillsborough have to defend themselves against the narrative that they were the ones that caused the disaster that day. Never again would the names of the 97 people who died have the word accidental associated with their memory. Never again could those responsible hide from the reality of what they had done. It may have taken nearly 3 decades for the truth to come out, but through sheer persistence, determination, and love for their fallen friends and relatives, the 97 could now rest, knowing that in the last 27 years, not once had they ever walked alone.
And in the song,
That's the song.
Oh, is it?
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Oh, wow. You know, I never knew. I never knew really the origin of that song.
Oh,
I always knew when it was appropriate to sing it.
Oh,
whenever someone needed some type of support.
Oh,
But what I'm gathering from this is that the people who needed the support were all of the people who were killed and had to fight for almost 30 years.
Yeah.
And so even though they're gone, like they're not alone. They're not walking alone because they have all these people still fighting for them.
Oh, right. Oh,
man. That gets me a little emotional. I usually don't. I don't cry. I mean, I don't know. It just doesn't. I usually get a headache or something like that. But I don't know, man. Just seeing those names and hearing renditions of that song before, and now having the context of that song with the names, with the cello playing. Yeah.
And just,
oh man,
I don't know. You always can't help but just imagine their fear.
Yeah.
And how young they were.
Yeah, they were just going to have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
They're just going to a football match.
Yeah. It's just because I think, a lot of us have been in situations where at concerts or just in line at amusement parks or anything like that, it gets tight. And just in those moments, I'm sure it wasn't nearly as tight as it was for them, but they're scary. Yeah. It's scary.
That's crazy.
So I'm glad that cover up came to light.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look and see what the people have to say here. So I'm not a sports fan, but this disaster is utterly haunting, heartbreaking, and an outrageous injustice to the families. Liverpool, Sheffield, all football fans, and to all of us. I consider it a crime against the entire country.
Yeah, exactly.
I was at Hillsborough that day. Wow. You will never believe how terrifying it was stuck in that crush. Much love to all of you who have commented positively towards the families, fatalities, and survivors. You're all very kind. Man.
Wow, so scary.
Because that wasn't that long ago.
I know.
You could still be in your 40s and 50s, and you could have been a teenager when you were there.
And it feels like they just barely got justice.
Yeah.
I mean, 27 years passing. That's ridiculous.
That's crazy. And but I thought it was interesting. He said that some people still protest the media.
Yeah.
Still to this day.
The Sun, I think it is.
Yeah. That's crazy. Good. So I remember this so well. We had the Scum newspaper back then.
Oh, that's what they call it.
A decade later, I was fully fed up with the mainstream media and gave it all up.
Exactly.
Still not owned a telly since 1998.
Wow.
Damn. As a non-fan of football, I really didn't see your final comment coming and burst into tears. All as the music came in. Nice, short, and to the point. A big hug to all the fans. Oh man, another tragedy is that no one went to prison for this. Yeah, you can probably read these all day.
I know.
So,
oh my gosh,
that was really, really interesting. I'm glad I watched that.
Yeah,
because I know Diogo Jota. I think they pronounce it Jota.
Oh, Jota.
I think so. Passed this.
Maybe about
this summer.
Yeah.
There was a car accident, and on my football channel, I posted something on it, and all you saw was, "You'll never walk alone." So YNWA is what you never walk alone.
Now it's like
it's a rallying cry. It's a support for people who need it. So, man, dang.
Oh man.
Yeah, this cry. That was a sad day.
Oh my gosh, and now we have to, there's not that we have to, but just emotionally it's going to be hard because the next video is to watch what Bella had actually recommed to listen to the song, but we just wanted to know why.
I'm glad we did that because now I know. I mean, I knew, but now I know where it comes from. Right. So that was a great video. Thank you, Bella, for the recommendation, and thank you very much for still being here. We definitely appreciate it.
Yeah.
As always, thanks for stopping by, and we will see you on the next video.
Bye.